What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel. Oh, do we have a fun one for you guys today, because I have a lot of explaining to do just regarding the decisions I've made regarding my account. But ultimately, when I finish and explain everything, I think you guys will understand my thought process and where I can really be onto something. I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments. Definitely let me know what you think when you watch the entire video regarding my thoughts. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's get into the account history, right? Let's just get to the facts. Instead of talking, let's just get to showing. Now, I just want to point out that this week, in terms of some of my, I guess you can say trading, right? Investing is what you call mental gymnastics. And I can definitely say that it feels like I tried to do some tricks and ultimately fell in front of a crowd, right? Like, imagine being a professional gymnast and just messing up. And that's basically what has happened this week, right? I'll say two funny things. Is it feels as if I panic sold, right? Because when you look at this RGTI position, I sold it for 380, bought back for 3,700. So that's all a loss, right? So I panic sold that because obviously RGTI did end up bouncing, right? Like, let's just look at it. I got in here, got out here. It just is what it is, right? Again, attempting the triple backflip and falling in front of the crowd. Now, this position ended up being decent. It was a win for like $180. And here we have the Con L new position I opened up and the roll. So the roll is, or sorry, wait, where is the, yeah, bought for 260. Does it just show the close on this? Regardless, whatever. We bought shares. I talked about that. We ended up profiting 200 on the shares. Oh, here it is. Yeah, bought for 260. You guys see it. But the point that I want to get at, right, is this roll here and this position here. So remember what we said? We panic sold this because RGTI ended up bouncing, and Con L we ended up panic rolling, right? So let's just take a look at what it's done. Obviously, it's been an amazing week for Con L. But had we not rolled when we did today, which was somewhere on the dump, we'd be up another 2 or 3. If we didn't mess up either of those positions, this account would be at like back to 25K right now or somewhere close to it. But it just is what it is. Now, in terms of why I decided to roll and take these positions, I was just doing the math, right? And I want to get into the thought process and explain it to you guys here. So basically what I was seeing on this Bitcoin chart, so keep in mind, the candle was not this hammer. It was a big red candle like this one. And I saw that we had the chance to reject off this, which if it did keep going, then Con L would have fallen down and ultimately I wouldn't have been able to roll. And I would have either had to have gotten assigned or I could have still rolled, but I couldn't have rolled to 45 for a credit, right? Think about the strategy. The most important part of the strategy is being able to roll lower while collecting a credit. Now, here's the other cool part is since I only needed the cash for $45, right? Now it freed up $2 more thousand because 50 times 4 is 20,000, 50 times 45 is 18,000, which allowed me to now sell new puts at a lower price of 26. So basically, doing the math, right? My thought process was Bitcoin was going to reject off this supply. Now, obviously, as you can see, I drew out what I think ultimately will happen, but my thought process was if Bitcoin rejects and ultimately does this, right, now I'm more prepared because, and here is what I want to basically say, the most important concept of this whole entire strategy is when we entered this trade, we originally started with a strike of 55 and Con L was at $60. Between these two strikes, right, if hypothetically Bitcoin does play out like this, right now, let's just say we got assigned on both of these and I didn't roll again, which I think I would roll at least one more time just to let you guys know where my thought process is with this position. I think if I had to roll up until, if I had to roll up until June, I think I would. I wouldn't want to. Truthfully, this is, or sorry, up until March. That's what I meant. Like, obviously, we rolled into February. I'd be willing to go one more time up until March. That would be probably the last time. And if that did happen, ideally, if I was able to get from 45 all the way down to 38, 39, and hypothetically, if I even had to roll this other position, I would get even lower. But right now, let's just say I didn't roll either of these and I got assigned on all of these positions. My cost basis, right, on Connell would be $38. And you can do the math in terms of the 400 shares for 45 and 200 for 26, right? So that is where option selling ultimately can get you super rich. So now that I fully have explained everything, and I know I've said a lot, basically what I want you to understand is Connell was at $60, right? So I could have bought 400 shares at 60 and I would be screwed, but instead I sold options. It was at 55, and of course it ended up completely collapsing, but I was still able to roll so low that now if I got assigned on all of this, my cost basis would be all the way here, right? That would be the entries on the positions, and that would be that. So it's just incredible what you can do with option selling, right? And hypothetically, let's just say the market did go all the way down here and we did roll one more time and got our cost basis to 30, and at this point got assigned, and then we rode it all the way up back to this level of 55, 60. That is how this account would go from 20,000 to 40,000, within under a year, right? And I've said that on this channel many times, that with option selling 100% per year is very doable. Right now, it has obviously been a retracement, but in a lot of ways, we could be setting up for, something that is going to be much bigger than I had already anticipated, right? Much bigger than collecting 10% in premium a month, right? Like that is how you can ultimately get insanely rich with option selling. Now, keep in mind, this type of strategy can only be done on an asset you trust, right? I obviously panic sold RGTI and it didn't play out. And it's because I had no trust in it. I had no faith in it. I had no reason to continue believing in it. Obviously, had I known more about this asset, I would have stayed in, right? If I had enough info to make me confident in holding for this bounce. Coinbase and Connell, I am confident to hold for bounces, which is why rolling lower, it's almost like you want the market to crash so you can get assigned at the lowest point possible. But of course, if it does go back up, then we'll have this account back at 23.5. So yeah, we could be at 23.5, 24 today, but I'm not upset about it, right? I'm just laughing at it. I'm enjoying the show just as much as you guys, because you have to keep in mind, and anyone who's a seasoned investor knows this. When you're under that, pressure to make the decision, and that's the beautiful part about option selling, is it gives you time, right? Even when it feels like the world is collapsing, it's not like buying where it actually is collapsing because you will lose it all. With option selling, you have time, and there's so many ways to buy time. But, in the moment of watching Bitcoin, look like this big red candle, like I'm happy to turn into this candle. And that's the other thing. Since I'm not option selling with a large portion of my full holdings, it's like I'm still happy if Bitcoin shoots up, but I did something that was going to protect me more on the downside. So basically, either way, I can be happy. Obviously, it shooting back up, I would have made more money, with a little bit of a balls to the wall mentality. But I feel like I'm already balls to the wall enough with this position. And I wanted to just be a little safer when I had the opportunity to roll. So listen, did I make a mistake? Maybe, probably. But am I going to cry over it, right? If you're watching this and you're an investor, you're a trader, you've made mistakes. I know you've learned from them. And that's just what this is. Again, it's just mental gymnastics in front of a crowd. And, if I do great, it's amazing. If I make a mistake, you get up and you try again. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you see my mindset, right? What I was saying in the beginning, how, if doing it on the right asset and doing it the right way could ultimately lead to you getting rich the quickest and not having to fear the market crashing. But of course, you can have moments like today where it feels like you panic sold. It feels like you panic rolled. Your account is, costing. Your account is down because of it. It's pissed at you because of it. I actually made a meme in the chat just about it, right? And that's the thing. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. You got to be able to joke about it. You can't take life so seriously. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you see what I'm saying, how you can make money if it goes up and get even richer if it goes down. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.